Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English translation of the Majlis of Hazrath Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Thursday morning at Baitul Azkar in Wasiabad, Allahabad, UP, India. Thursday, the 27th of Safar, 1444, corresponding with the English date 14th of September 2023. Hazrat Wala is speaking about Tasawwuf ka Misdaq, the corroboration of Tasawwuf. Now, although the name Tasawwuf came into use after a long period of time, its corroboration was found in the 1st century. The author of Al-Ibda', Misri Alim, Al-Ibda' fi Madari al-Ibtida'. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah इस किताब को बहुत पसंद फरमाते थे. He really liked that kitab, and he would read from that kitab different articles. This article that I have in front of me is from Al-Ibda'. So here it says, ظهرت التصوف في القرون الأولى للإسلام فكان له شأن عظيم. When Tasawwuf appeared in the 1st centuries of Islam, it enjoyed a magnificent status. وَكَانَ الْمَقْصُودُ مِنْهُ فِي أَوَّلِ الْأَمْرِ. And its objective in the beginning, its objective was تقويم الأخلاق وتهذيب النفوس وترويضها بأعمال الدين. It was to set right character, culture the nafs, and train them to carry out actions of deen, attract them to it, to make deen a natural sentiment of the nafs and the selves, and to acquaint them, the selves and the nafs, with wisdom and mysteries of deen gradually. In fact, the Urdu also is so magnificent. यानी जिस वक्त इस्लाम के कर्न अव्वल में तसव्वुफ यानी तसव्वुफ ज़ाहिर हुआ था, तो उसके लिए एक अजीम शान थी, यानी वो एक अजीमुल मर्तबत चीज़ थी. और इब्तिदान उससे मकसूद तक़वीमुल अखलाक, तहज़ीब नुफूस और तबाई को अमाल दीन का खोगर बनाना, और इसको उसकी जानिब खींच कर लाना, और दीन शरीयत को नफ्स की तबीयत और उसका विजदान बनाना था. नीज़ दीन के हिकम व असरार से तदरीजन नफ्स को वाकिफ कराना था. You know, people used to come to Hazrat Maulana Tanvi, and then they would come there, sit there, and then start their own wazifa. And then he would say then that, well, why did you start this wazifa? It could greatly be possible that I would tell you to do something else, start you off with something like Suratul Fatiha or recitation of the Quran, or tell you something about your akhlaq. Now, an Arab alim is writing here. Nevertheless, he says, each of these objectives were obviously correct. Therefore, no one ought to differ with them nor reject them. However, because the ulama of the external sciences considered deen to be restricted to the rules related to dealings and transactions and actions of the external body parts, they rejected the genuine Sufis and went to the extent of labeling them as deviates and heretics. So, since the rulers and the sultans were dependent on the ulama, they supported the latter, while the Sufis were left unsupported and helpless. They feared their opponents and were compelled to conceal their orientation. They felt that outsiders will not understand their speech. So they formulated expressions and terminologies which were peculiar to them. This is why they admitted a person into their tariqat. This is why when they admitted a person into their tariqat, into their silsila, they did so after laying down many conditions and putting him through a long period of test and examination. They said if any person wants to join us, he will have to prove himself to be a genuine talib, a genuine seeker. Only then he could become a murid, and then a salik, meaning the one who would then tread that path. The crux of this entire discussion is that it was due to their highest level of integrity, honesty and sincerity that these Sufis observed and tested the sincere talib and seeker. They did this so that they could conclude whether he is true and firm in his quest and whether he has a genuine resolve or not. In other words, was it Allah's love that brought him there to their path, or does he want to creep in surreptitiously so that they may learn some type of secrets and divulge it to others? Was the person honest or not honest? That's why they put him to so much of tests. Now, tasawwuf was a magnificent concept which has been defined by the ulama of tasawwuf as huwa ilmun تعرف به أحوال تزكية النفوس وتصفية الأخلاق وتعمير الظاهر والباطن لنيل السعادة الأبدية. Allahu Akbar. Tasawwuf, it is a science through which the purification of the nafs, the rectification of character, and the development of external and internal could be learned, so that the external happiness, so that eternal happiness may be acquired. Now, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, Hazrat Muslihul Ummah Rahimahullah, said that a person has to have high courage and lofty aspirations for this work. Accumulating of this world and confining oneself to the external actions are not marks of lofty aspiration. Rather, it entails serving one's link with all unnecessary relationship and establishing a bond with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and acquiring affinity with Him. However, the severing of ties is like death to these people. This is why they neither sever them, nor do they develop a bond with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To Allah alone we belong, and to Him is our return. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We present our complaint to Him alone. We cry to Him alone. Anyway, this work is not for all and sundry. Someone said so beautifully, Har hari se ना सजाए तर्क दुनिया के कुनद शेर मर्दे बायद व दरियाए दिले मर्दाना. मीनिंग, हर हरीस नालायक दुनिया को कब तर्क कर सकता है, उसके लिए शेर मर्द और दरियाए दिल होने की ज़रूरत है. That how can every avaricious an unworthy fellow discard this world? It's not for one and all. It's not for all and sundry. It requires the courage of a lion and the heart of an ocean. Allahu Akbar. He added, just as it is the duty of the ulama to acquire knowledge of beliefs and jurisprudence, they have two other obligations. The first is to acquire the love and affinity of Allah, and the other is to rectify the evils of the nafs. They have to impose on the nafs ammara to follow shari'at and sunnat and turn it into nafs mutma'inna. This is the objective of tasawwuf and tariqat. This is its goal. Allahu Akbar. So, jab ye muhakkak ho gayi, when this is established that it is essential to remove the evils of the carnal self and to acquire affinity with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the easiest way in achieving this is to hand yourself over to an expert. सबसे आसान तरीका और सूरत यह है कि अपने आप को किसी कामिल मुकम्मिल के सुपुर्द कर दे. And इसलिए that this is adatullah, this is the habit of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And यूं ही जारी है कि ये बातिनी दौलत बगैर सोहबत और खिदमत अहलुल्लाह के हासिल नहीं होती है. It is the norm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that spiritual treasure cannot be acquired without the company of the true men of Allah, the Ahlullah. Now, tawazu, humility, one is tawazu, one is tawakkul. One is to know about it, and one is for that particular thing to be created within yourself. Hazrat Sayyid Saheb went to Shah Abdul Rahim in his khidmat, and people said, you are such a giant yourself. You are so great and a personality of your own caliber. What makes you go there? He went on to say that before I went to him, जब तक उनसे ताल्लुक पैदा नहीं किया, मैं कुछ नहीं जानता था. Until I did not strike up my relationship with him, I did not know anything. नमाज रोज़ा सब कुछ करता था, कुछ समझता नहीं. उसके बाद नमाज को नमाज समझने लगा. उसके बाद ये हासिल हुई. Listen, before I went to him, it was different. And after I went to him, it was completely a different story. Before that, I knew namaz, I knew fasting, I was doing all of that. But I didn't understand it, the essence, the genuineness, the reality, the essence, the beauty, the deep dimension of it. I did not understand it. But after going to them, I actually understood what salat was. So the tawazu, the amal of it, you can show it out and practice it out and do it. Fine, it's in its place. But tawazu ka paida hona kisi ka andar, this is something else. So without zikr, a person does not get chain and peace. Without salat, he does not get chain and peace. Just like how the ta'alluq and the deep relationship which is enjoyed between a person and his parents, between the parents and their children. Similarly, such a type of a relationship is now enjoyed that a person cannot get peace without his salat now and without his zikr. And इसीलिए मशाइख के पास जाया जाता है. Hazrat Wala is saying that is why we actually go to the mashayikh, that we would see that before that what was our salat, and after that what our salat became. So everything was there, लेकिन दुर्वेशों के सोहबत में जाकर के एक अजीब चीज हमको हासिल हुई. After going and spending time in the presence and in the khidmat of these great saintly people, the buzrugs, the durwesh, some amazing type of thing was achieved. Now, शायद महीनों तक उसको देखते रहे और तर्जुमा भी हो गया. मौलवी रियासुद्दीन made that the tarjuma. We're talking of al-ibda'. A person came and he said that Hazrat, I want that great wealth which is in your heart. So Hazrat then wrote, or he told me to say to this person the very same thing, our discussion for today. Har hari se na sazaye tarke dunya ke kunad, sher marde bayad wa daryaye dile mardana. That's exactly it. Har haris nalaik दुनिया को कब तर्क कर सकता. इसके लिए शेर मर्द और दरियाए दिल होने की जरूरत है. How can every avaricious and unworthy fellow discard this world? How will he be able to abandon this world? It requires the courage of a lion and the heart of an ocean. So this is it, that we come and we want to acquire this type of wealth. But like how you need, and there is a great need to make a mehnat for everything else. Similarly, for this year, there is some type of mehnat and some things that we need to do before we can actually acquire this great treasure. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بحرمة سيد النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه